I bet you're all wondering if I just went and changed my shirt from the last video I just posted and to film this video. And the answer would be yes. Yes, I did. So this video is going to be a fun one. This is another continuation of my Disney Movie Marathon wrap-up, and this is going to be my list of the worst Disney movies I watched during this marathon. Even though I love Disney very, very much, even I can admit that there are some stinkers in the collection. This is literally just a list of movies that I have for the purposes of the fact that they are Disney and I want them for my collection. Like, I want all the movies for my collection. I want all the stinkers, even though they're stinkers. And I probably will never watch these movies ever again unless I'm having another Disney movie marathon. Like, none of these movies will be like, oh hey, let's watch this movie, unless, you know, I have a friend over and we get extremely wasted and I'm like, you need to see how terrible this movie is. As I said before, my list is here on my iPad, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So two things before I get started. One, this list is 100% my own opinion. If I say a movie in here that you love, I apologize, and that's great that you love this movie and that you found enjoyment out of it. We're all human. We all like and dislike different things, so if you like this movie, that is fantastic. You are absolutely allowed to love this movie. I just didn't. This is a completely and totally my own opinion. And second, I'm going to try not to talk about the plot too much, but just in case, here's a spoiler warning. If I spoil anything, I apologize. I'm going to try really hard not to, but it might happen. Also, this list is in alphabetical order. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just all alphabetical. So the first movie I talk about is not like the best out of the list, and the last one is not the worst out of the list. It's honestly just all alphabetical. Right, Weez? He knows what I'm saying. First one, this movie is really hard for me to talk about and really hate on because I love Beauty and the Beast. The Beauty and the Beast is my favorite movie ever, but first movie right off the top is Belle's Magical World. There are a lot of Disney sequels that are just clips from either like an old TV show thrown together into a movie. Most of the ones that I've seen give a reason why they're showing all these clips. For example, these two movies aren't on this list, but the first one is Tarzan and Jane. There was a Tarzan TV show, and so the movie was Jane wanted to throw an engagement party for Tarzan, and she was talking to Tantor and Turk about it. She's like, oh, maybe I should do this. And Tantor and Turk are like, no, don't do that because remember what happened when this happened. And then they showed like the 20-minute clip from the TV show. And also there was Cinderella 2. I don't know if there was a Cinderella TV show or anything, but same kind of thing. The mice were telling the fairy godmother stories, and so each story was like a 20-minute thing that they put into one full-length feature film. They're still not the best. Like, that's not the best way to tell an overall film plot or anything. However, with Belle's Magical World, there literally was no reason why they were showing just these clips. Like, there was no in-betweenness of each of the clips to explain why they were just showing clips. And I think they did try to have a Beauty and the Beast TV show and it failed, and then so they just took the 3 shorts and put them into a film. So I think that's why they did that, but it's still like, but still give us a reason why you're giving us this film like this. And I just didn't like that they did that. So that's my reasoning why I don't like Belle's Magical World. And the next one is BFG. It really upsets me that I really don't like this movie because this was actually the very first movie that Sam and I watched together. When I was having my very first Disney movie marathon was when Sam and I started dating, and he actually said to me, hey, I saw that they're playing BFG in theaters. I don't know if you've already seen it, but it is a Disney movie. Would you like to watch it for your marathon? And I thought that was really cute, and it always like really touched my heart that he thought about that and thought about the fact that I'm having this marathon and tried to like add on to it. But I really just didn't like this movie. Computer animation that they do for the Giants is breathtaking. It is incredible animation. And I know the movie is based on a book, so I don't know if it's maybe just following the book really well, and that's why I don't like the story. If you've read the book and you've seen the movie and you think it's a good comparison, then definitely let me know down below if I'm just like missing out on the book or something. But I personally just didn't like it at all. I didn't like the story. I do think the whole idea of how he collects dreams is kind of adorable. So, I mean, I don't totally hate this movie. It's just not one that I'll ever reach for on my own. The next one is Country Bears. To be completely and totally honest with you guys, there was one part of this movie that actually made me laugh really hard, and I did actually rewind it a couple times because it was hilarious. But other than that, this movie was just not good. This movie kind of took place when they were trying to take attractions and make full-length feature films about them. They did this with Country Bears. They did it with Pirates of the Caribbean, which was actually good. I talk about Pirates of the Caribbean in my last video, so check that out. And then they also did it with Haunted Mansion, which we will get into the Haunted Mansion. Country Bears was just not good, and again, I was really disappointed because I love the Country Bears Jamboree in Disneyland and Disney World. I think it's a hilarious, fun show, and it's just a great way to get off your feet for 20 minutes. It just wasn't great. The next one is G-Force. Okay, this movie is about computer animated guinea pigs that are secret spies. Moving on. Next, I'm going to talk about the TV show Gargoyles. I really liked the first season of this show. I actually did. However, the entire second season just really had me like, what the fuck is going on? I liked the first season. I really liked the premise of it, besides the fact that, let's be honest, Elisa really wanted to bang a gargoyle. Like, she really wanted to get down and dirty with Goliath. But the second season just made zero sense to me. Sam was sitting on the couch watching it, and I was kind of coming to and from and doing chores and getting ready for something, I think. And I remember coming back and being like, what the fuck happened in the 5 minutes that I've been gone? And even Sam was like, I don't know. There was just a lot that happened in the second season that just made zero sense. I know they were like time traveling, but it just made no sense. I had a really hard time finishing Gargoyles. I really did. And I've heard that they're gonna try to reboot it on Disney Plus and even maybe potentially do a live action. And I really hope that if they do that, they really stick with like the plot of the first season of Gargoyles, how they were in the past and how the castle had to be brought up past the clouds in order for them to come back to life. I really liked all that, and I really hope if they do a like live action reboot of it, they stick with that and kind of stay away from the whole time travelness of the show, because that just made zero sense. Kind of touched base on this, but let's get into it. The Haunted Mansion. This was very disappointing for me because I love the Haunted Mansion ride, and I've actually had the opportunity to do a backstage tour of the Haunted Mansion when I was a cast member. It was so interesting to learn so many different stories about the ride. And see, that's the thing, is there's so many little things going on in this attraction that you could take one thing and make an incredible film out of it. But I feel like they tried to make a film out of something that didn't exist. The only thing that made sense with the whole plot of the movie was the fact that Master Gracey killed himself. In the ride, he does kill himself, like Master Gracey does kill himself, but you don't really know why. And the reason that they gave in the movie why he killed himself, I really didn't like it. And I feel like there's so much more going on in this attraction that they could take one thing and make like an amazing story. Maybe do a story about where the hitchhiking ghost came from, or an entire thing about the Hatbox Ghost, or the freaking best story to come out of the Haunted Mansion, the entire story of Constance, the bride. I think that would be an incredible story to dive into. I just didn't like how they did it, and it was really disappointing because, like I said, that's my favorite ride. Now let's talk about High School Musical 3. I actually watched this movie twice during my marathon so that I could really like try to figure it out, and I still could not figure it out. I loved High School Musical 1 and High School Musical 2, and even watching them again, I feel like they hold up just because of how much I really loved them. Like, yes, they are extremely corny, and it's very over the top the way that they are, and it definitely gives the wrong impression of what high school is actually like for kids. They're still great, and they're just so much fun to watch as an adult. I loved them as a kid, and I love them now as an adult. Watching High School Musical 3, first of all, there is way too much stuff going on. It just does not make sense half of the movie. Also, there's so many little things in it that I was watching, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? There's the whole plot where Gabriella is accepted to start early at Stanford. So she starts early, and then she decides to tell Troy that she's not coming back for prom or for graduation because she's finally gotten over having to say goodbye to him and she doesn't want to have to do it again. So, okay, whatever. If you don't want to go to your high school prom or graduation because of that, whatever. But then literally she says that, and 10 minutes later, Troy shows up to Stanford and is like, hey. It's like, dude, I literally just told you I don't want to see you because I don't want to have to re-say goodbye to you. So that was weird. I was like, what the hell? And then she still went to prom and she still went to graduation. So I'm like, what? What was the whole point of her saying she didn't want to go to these things just for her to now go to them? Like, whatever. Honestly, the best part of High School Musical 3 was watching the bloopers for it. My friend came over and her and I watched all 3 High School Musicals, and the best part of High School Musical 3 was the bloopers. The rest was just kind of like, whatever. Let's just watch the first 2 again. Next one is Kronks New Groove. This kind of falls in the same realm as Belle's Magical World because I love The Emperor's New Groove a lot. I think it's insanely underrated. Kronks New Groove just didn't need to happen. There was a point in time where I feel like it was trying to be a musical and then it failed terribly. It was another, here's what's going on and here's 3 clips to explain why this isn't gonna work kind of a deal. And I just didn't like it. What's going on? Why are you singing? Why is Yzma half cat, half person? Oh, I missed one. Next is Mars Needs Moms. This movie was so bad. First of all, Milo, the main character, was a freaking brat. I would have smacked his face if I was a parent. Not actually, but I was watching that movie and I was like, Jesus Christ, you're not a real kid. You're an asshole. And on top of that, the characters, I think their names are Gribby and Key. They are just the most annoying characters that ever existed. Like, I'm honestly trying to remember which one I found more annoying, and they were both just awful. The entire story didn't make sense to me, like why they had to kidnap the mom from Earth, bring her to Mars, and why they kept the boy alien babies underground and the females were ruling the world and they were evil. I don't know. Next is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and no, I am not talking about The Wind in the Willows or The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. No, I'm talking about the live action Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's not like they took an actual toad or mole and made them talk like they do in other movies. No, they were real people, and oh, he's a toad because he has green face paint on. Oh, and you're a rabbit because you're human, but you have a rabbit nose and rabbit ears. It was weird. It was a very trippy movie, but also there was a good long 5 minutes where Mr. Toad's face paint washed off and he had regular human face with no green face paint and they did not touch it up. So could no one have yelled cut and been like, sorry, your face makeup's coming off, you're not actually a toad anymore because you're not green anymore. Wind in the Willows is already weird, and like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Disneyland is already weird, but why they had to take a whole new step and make it even weirder is beyond me. 2 more and then we'll get to my dishonorable mentions. First one is Pocahontas 2. So if you weren't also extremely pissed off like I was that Pocahontas chose John Roth instead of John Smith, then we can agree to disagree, but yeah, that was bullshit. Why she chose to be with John Roth and not John Smith, I will never understand, but okay. So my last one is Secret of the Magic Gourd. I watch a lot of YouTubers who will take sequels or just really weird movies and just make the ever-living fun out of them. I would love to see one of these YouTubers do a video about Secret of the Magic Gourd because it is just so bad. I don't know if it's Korean or a Chinese film. It's about a young boy in, like I said, either Korea or China. He has a magic gourd who grants him wishes. It's so bad. And kind of along the same lines as Mars Needs Moms, this kid is just a brat. The only way I can justify watching this movie is if you invite a bunch of friends over, get really wasted, and then watch it. Then it's a good time. But other than that, just don't watch it. And now we're going to go into my dishonorable mentions. These movies, it's not that they didn't make the cut to be on this list, I just didn't really have a lot to say about them. I really only have 5 to mention. I just didn't really have as much to say about them as I did for the rest of them. So this list is the live action Alice in Wonderland, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Doug's First Movie, Ice Princess, and Teacher's Pet. So that is my list of just really not good, really terrible Disney movies that I just did not like. Again, that list was entirely my opinion. If there's any movies on there that you like, I apologize if I offended them. It's my own opinion. I didn't like them. I hope, if anything, you just had a good laugh with me. I know I was laughing my head off during certain parts of this video, and I really had just so much fun making this list, just having a fun time bashing some of these movies. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Stay tuned for my next video in my Disney movie marathon wrap up. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.